One of the most important aspects of collecting data from honeypots would be the reporting of the data for decision making purposes. So in light of this, in terms of the project that I've been doing for the University of Johannesburg, I looked at what's available on the internet to take Honeyd log data and put it into a database for me, so I can either write SQL queries to query the data and get some statistics going. Otherwise, actually writing for example, a Java-based application, web-based application, to do the charting and do the drill down for me. So I came across Honeyd2MySQL on the net. It's hosted at bruteforce.gr, Honeyd2MySQL. The current version I see that they have on the site is Honeyd2MySQL version 0.3. So you just need to click on that link to download. Once the download actually finishes, you get a tar file that is downloaded. I think let me just open the file so we can just have a look at the source code. And also just to give my view on the way the script has been written. So it's a Perl script. Um, the whole intent and purpose is to pass the log file from Honeyd and then insert those records into MySQL. So from the bat, when you look at this source code, the first area that you need to go and rectify, depending on the type of deployment you've done on Ubuntu, is to indicate, where's the log file. So in my case, it's under var log honeypot honeyd.log. This can be changed, and then you also need to configure the SQL user. So you need to have MySQL installed, and you need to have a account created for the insertion of data. So account with the right privileges. Um, Obviously, then that username and password must be created. You need to create the honeypot database yourself. So you need to do a create database statement in MySQL. So in my case, I actually just used honeyd as the database name. Although my username and password is a bit different in terms of the source code that you are looking at right now. And then I am working on my localhost, to integrate this data. Perl will then open the file, which we specify as honeyd.log. One thing to note about the log file in some cases with honeyd, there's a permissions issue to write to honeyd.log under the var log honeypot directory. So there is a workaround available, but it means that you need to actually compromise the security of your honeypot. So you do a change mod on, this directory, and basically give it worldwide access. The reason is, as far as I understand it, is the permission deny error comes from the fact that honeyd actually runs as the nobody user. So the nobody user doesn't have any privileges as such. To actually write to this file. So, just in terms of, the time limitations we have for the course and for the project, I just wanted to get data into the log file. So I just circumvented some security around, adding my own permissions around this specific folder. So once that's done, you shouldn't have an issue. The Perl script will then actually connect to your database using the credentials that you supply, the database name, and then, obviously, where your database is located. Um, and then it would go and create the table, the connections table. So the connections table, if we just look at the fields, alright, so let's just log into my implementation. So the Honeyd database you need to create yourself. So let's just use Honeyd. And let's look at the tables. Okay, so there's connections, and let's just describe connections. So we can look at the field. So, um, when we create the table over here, it's going to add a primary key. It's an integer. It will auto increment. It will add the date time. The protocol that's being used to connect to your Honeyd instance, source IP, source port, destination IP, destination port. It doesn't make any attempt to establish if this table was created before, right, or pre-created, or to check, just a basic validation if it exists or not. So, that might be one issue we can just sort that ourselves, just by altering the source code. It then, spits out some informational messages on your screen. It sleeps for about, 3 milliseconds or 3 seconds. Then it will start passing the file. It will then extract the datetime, the protocol, uh, the start, end, source IP, source port, destination IP, destination port, based on the format of the file. And right at the end of the day, it's going to insert these values into our database using the insert into SQL instruction. So it's really simple. It will process this file until we've reached the end of the file. One other issue I do foresee with the script is that if there's any unexpected formatting issues, I don't really see error checking or some exception area in the script, to cope with that, with those specific scenarios. So I think the assumption is made in terms of the script that the log file is in the right format, and it should just work. I do foresee that we need to make changes to this file. I don't think it's a perfect file, but at the end of the day, it does the job quite well. In another video in this wiki, I actually show how the script is busy executing on my Honeyd log and how the data is inserted. Just in terms of that, maybe let me just move to MySQL. I've actually done a 5-minute Nessa scan using the Nessa Sin scanner. So let's just see. It took about 45 minutes to integrate the data into this database. So let's just see how many records are available. And this is all based on a 5-minute scan I've done with Nessus, so it's pretty intense. Let's have a look here. So that's select count star from connections. So altogether, a 5-minute Nessus scan resulted in 78,945 records that were integrated into MySQL, into the connections table. So pretty much a very simple script to execute. I think let's just have a look at how we execute. So I already have a preset or pre-configured script. We are indicated what the username and password should be. So let's just have a look at where this file is. It should be in the downloads folder. Let's just grep for Honeyd2MySQL. So there's the TOEFL and the actual Perl script. So it's pretty simple. I'm just gonna execute sudo perl honeyd2mysql.pl, and then this process should start automatically. Here we go. Let's have a look. See. Okay, so it already exists, and like I said, this is half the issue. But we see that it is continuing. Maybe processing should have stopped, or we need to look at how we can actually manage the log file, for Honeyd. But that's a long story very short. There are scripts available for the integration, and then based on this, I can start doing my own reports. So thank you for looking at this video. Next video in the series is on the actual integration.